Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Millennial X. Today, we're talking about Israel possibly being the cause of World War III, which is surprising considering I thought it was going to be Ukraine for a bit there because of the fact that Russia's going to see the United States and all NATO countries as being responsible for Ukraine even being able to fight. But whenever October 7th happened, I thought, oh, well, that's not good, but it's fairly limited in the idea that it is only the Palestinians that are fighting against Israel. There's not direct interaction from Iran, and then Donald Trump won the presidency, allowing us to return to negotiating tables. Because let's be honest, Biden wasn't talking to anyone about trying to settle down and get peace. Back in his first term, Donald Trump introduced the Abraham Accords, which was an effort to get multiple Muslim theocratic countries, or at the very least Muslim majority countries, to recognize Israel and its right to exist, which was a huge step forward for peace in the Middle East. But unfortunately, during the Biden administration, we were extremely weak. We were extremely open to just being walked all over. I personally think that it was an intentional push to weaken ties with allies such as Israel. With the fact that Joe Biden has been so far gone for so long, there's a serious question as to whether he was even making decisions or if it was just a Marxist administration that wants to get a globalist agenda through. By getting a world war to start, you would be able to get a globalist government mix up and possibly get a cross country government organization that could supersede American freedoms and basically turn us into a crap hole country, such as all the European ones. Because guess what, European countries? If you had to spend any money on your defense, you would not be able to do your socialized healthcare, which, by the way, is coming at an insanely high tax rate for every single one of you. Plus, you have to wait for services that we, at least for a very long time, did not have to wait for. In recent presidential administrations, our healthcare got screwed up horribly. Specifically, I remember when it occurred right after the Affordable Care Act switched over, a bunch of doctors chose to retire rather than deal with having to support these Medicare, Medicaid systems that Barack Obama forced into the system. They basically took a lot of personal choice away from doctors and hospitals, and because of that, you saw a whole ton of private practice get closed down. You saw doctors available reducing. The ones that were available now are all in a hospital system rather than being private practice, which means there's now all the bureaucratic baloney that comes with it. Whenever I was growing up, I could go to my private practice pediatrician and I could get in the same day that I came down with a cold. No delay, no waiting, same day. Even whenever my pediatrician specifically, he said, I will take care of kids until they graduate college. So he was from infant all the way up to about 21, 22. But you were still able to call him. Even whenever I was 22 years old, could call him, say, hey, doc, I have some fever going on. Can I come in and see you? And he'd be like, yep, we have a 3 o'clock. I'll see you then. And so I'd be able to get in at the drop of a hat. You guys don't have that in Europe. You guys don't have anything compared to us. Your guys' entire countries, your guys' entire continent put together, all your countries, is smaller than like half of ours. Your biggest country is like one of our states. So anyways, moving on, getting away from that, back to Israel. I was expecting Ukraine to be the cause of World War III, not Israel, but I did have that little bit of nervousness that Israel would spark something in the region because, well, there's a lot of countries down in the Middle East that absolutely hate Israel existing. They are anti-Semitic to their core. They want to eradicate all Jews. Muslim belief is that at the end of the world, that the trees and the rocks themselves will call out, "There is a Jew behind me, come and kill him." That is Muslim ideology. I am fine with Muslims who say that is wrong, that is not good, we should not do that, but that is the key of their ideology. So, Israel is not in a safe place, to say the least. This has been seen in Israel's history. So Israel's history is very quick to sum up. In the late 40s, Great Britain gave the land to Israel. Great Britain is at fault for one part. They promised the same chunks of land to two different groups, and they had to decide which group. They ended up going with the Jews, probably because the Jews didn't feel safe being in their country at all anymore due to the fact that they just got genocided. I don't know exactly why. I've never actually looked it up. I'm not going to lie. But the key is Britain gave it to the Jews. The Jews moved in. I can't remember exactly what year the 6-Day War... Was it 6-Day or was it 9-Day? 9-Day War. No, it must have been 6-Day War. I must have had it right. 6-Day War. The 6-Day War was in 67. In 1967, the 6-Day War occurred. And when this happened, Israel was attacked by 3 countries? Coalition of Arab states, Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. 3 states attacked 3 countries. Attacked them, and Israel fought back, took it over, and expanded its territory, and then held on to that territory for a certain amount of time. Yom Kippur. I don't know how to spell this. Yom Kippur War. Then, in 1973, let's see here. Which countries was it? Egypt and Syria attacked again against Israel. This time they attacked on Yom Kippur, which is a religious holiday where Israel had most of their people in religious reverence and not actually in a combat state at all. It was several weeks from the 6th to the 25th of October 1973, and Israel won that one too. Since then, Israel has given land back to different Arab groups, such as Palestinians. They've just given land back in peace talks over and over and over. In these peace talks, it's agreed, we're not going to fight. We're going to give the land back in exchange for peace. We want everyone to be able to exist in the region together. And over and over and over, the Arabs keep attacking them. Whether you consider it an extremist group or you consider it a government-funded thing, that's on you. But the fact is, over and over and over, those Muslim groups are attacking the Jewish settlements. Over and over and over. Every single time that a ceasefire has been broken, it has been the Palestinian or Arab side that broke that treaty. The Israelis, I am not aware of a single time that they have broken the treaty. So, point is, that is the history of Israel. That is important because of what's being discussed. Israel is now considering a military strike on Iran. Why is this history so important for this discussion right now? Because Israel's been getting attacked since 1969. That is over 60, it's almost 60 years now, that they've been getting attacked and hostilities have been occurring, and countries like Iran have been attacking, well, not attacking, but funding people who then attack them. All of the military aid, all of the the medical and food aid that is given to these groups gets taken and turned into military surplus. Pipes are turned into missiles, things like that. Everything is being taken for a war effort against Israel. Here's where the grayness comes in with this. So, Israel could potentially strike Iran soon, even with the United States trying to have a negotiation on this and trying to say, hey, stop, let's not. They're still considering the strike. This is a big issue for U.S.-Israeli diplomacy, in my mind, due to the fact that having an ally who is an actual ally say, we're not listening to you, we're doing this, is a big troubling point. And I think that it may be an unfortunate... See, here's the thing. Countries get tired of being beat up on, and they respond in different ways. Putin got tired of... we made an agreement with Ukraine that if they got rid of their nukes, we would protect them from Russia. We also, at the same time, made an agreement with Russia, hey, we won't put NATO into Ukraine. And then NATO started looking to get Ukraine, and Russia said, we're going to take this land before you guys get a chance to actually have it join NATO. Because if they attack them while they're not yet NATO, then they can actually not trigger all the articles of and treaties that go with that. On top of that, the United States was run by an extremely feckless and ineffective leader in Joe Biden, and thus, just like whenever Barack Obama was in the White House, Russia expanded its territory again. But this time they did it specifically because there was the chance that this land that they currently had the ability to negotiate with would go fully in the opposite direction. That's not right. I wish Russia had not done that. I do not support Russia actually going to war. But if you want to understand people, you have to look at what their reason for something was. Whether it is justified or not, they have their reason. Sometimes it's just because they're a psychopath. Who knows? The United States, we're having a bunch of pushback on European countries, on countries around the world, and things like that, because we've been treated as the global police. We have paid for military defense of so many countries. We paid a large percentage of the United Nations budgets, and no one was pulling their fair share in any aspect, and the United States said, you know what, we're tired of it. We're going to make you do these things. We're going to make you strengthen your military. We're going to make you do this. We're going to make you do that. Because we want strong allies. We don't want allies that require us to be strong. We want allies that actually count for something. So Europeans, get your crap together and join us in the modern day where we have the capability of actually defending the world from Putin's or whoever the next evil dictator would be. Because it's not Trump, no matter how much y'all psychopaths want to say it. Just gotta say it. So, same thing is happening with Israel now. Israel has been getting attacked for almost 60 years. They're saying, we're tired of it. We've given away so much of the land we rightfully took in wars other people started. This would be the equivalent of Russia attacking Ukraine, and then Ukraine pushing back Russia, taking however many kilometers/miles of ground, and then Ukraine saying, hey, in an effort to have peace, we're going to give you back all this land. That's the equivalent of it. The attacking force got pushed back, and then the attacked force gave land back in an effort to get peace. You would all say that that is insane, but that's what Israel did. And after all these good attempts, after all this stuff, they're getting tired of it, I'm pretty sure. They're tired of having to even have an Iron Dome. And as such, they're looking at attacking Iran. I wish, once again, Israel would not do this and would actually work with Trump and the Americans to actually put this treaty in place that fully removes, because Donald Trump's goal of this is you will remove all of your nuclear material refinement, because refining nuclear material is something that's very easy to just scale up. It is. You just refine it longer and you get nuclear weapons grade material. That's the difference. If you think that they can't do it, well, firstly, they're allies with China. Do you think China doesn't know how to do it? China could very, very, very easily hand the ability to make a nuclear bomb to Iran at any point if they see that it would be beneficial to them. They could have Iran create a nuclear bomb Israel, start World War III, then they could bomb Iran or whoever and just remove that potential nuclear opponent off the board completely. That's what could happen. It's not that much of a stretch that people would use countries like Iran as a chess piece in their game. So, Europe, but you're getting beat up today. Europeans, you guys are run by absolute idiots, and you guys need to vote better. You guys need to become informed. If you are a European that's listening, you guys need to become informed. Canada, you Canadians need to become informed. Everyone needs to become informed. Whenever Russia invaded Ukraine, you guys kept buying Russian energy. You guys kept funding the Russian war. That's what you guys did, because none of you guys had the balls, cojones, or intelligence to actually cut off an opponent. If you guys fully cut off Russia's economy from the Western economy and said, until you stop this, we're done, Russia would have stopped ages ago. The same thing has been happening with the Middle East. Israel has been getting beat up on. It has been doing treaties. If everyone would just say, hey, Middle East, we're not doing anything with you. And in all honesty, in the Iraq war, people were talking about how the United States was stealing barrels of oil. That's what it was about. You know what? At this point, if a country is so bent on genociding another country, maybe it would be beneficial for Western forces to actually go in and seize their natural resources. No. You don't get oil anymore. We're taking the oil. Period. Look at how much land the United States controlled of Iraq and Afghanistan. And we had the lowest casualty rate of all wars ever. And we were there for 20 years. I hate that anyone died at all. But if you look at our casualty rate for that long of a period, we crushed them. Absolute crushing. And if you set rules of engagement that were along the lines of, you come within line of sight of our oil points, we shoot and kill you, they're not going to do anything. Or if they are going to try and do anything, they're going to get shot and killed. That's the end of it. Some countries need to be treated like dogs because they treat anyone who isn't themselves like they're subhuman. That's a hot take. I know it's a hot take. But if you want to genocide other people, if you want to kill other people for your own benefit or because they don't look like you or sound like you, you're wrong. No matter what or where you're from. I would never want someone killed just because they're Muslim or just because they're Middle Eastern. I want someone killed because they are, dangerous to society. That's what I want. So, this is the stupidest thing. It's incredibly dumb. The Israelis have tried forever. I don't want them to strike Iran. I want the world to tell Iran, hey, don't. Just don't. But at the same time, I know Europeans are not going to try and do this at all. They're going to They're going to keep doing everything the way they've always done it. They're going to keep using China. No one's going to understand that China's the next biggest thing, because at any point, China is a BRICS nation. Brazil, Russia, India, China. Wasn't the S one of them? I think the S is also one. But Iran is also a part of this discussion. If we start World War III, the entire Western forces will be crippled immediately. You know why? China will just stop sending any goods to the Western forces. Do you know how many factories we have in the United States that can do weapons? Very few. Do you know how many factories Europe has? Probably 0. You guys can't make munitions. We can barely make munitions. China would have their biggest advantage would be the fact that until we could switch our industry over to war, they would have the monopoly on munitions. We would only have the munitions that we have in stockpile. And that's a problem, because I don't know if y'all know this, but munitions go fast in war. So, I'm concerned about Israel attacking Iran. I don't want them to do it. I don't want World War III. I do think that this is partially the West's fault. For decades, they allowed the Middle East to just take advantage of peace treaty after peace treaty, and it's a problem. It's a problem. You have to actually hold people to account for whenever they break peace treaties. The United Nations is a joke. They allow Russia and Iran and Iraq and places like that on their civil rights councils. China. They allow places that break human rights on their human rights councils. Not civil rights councils. Their human rights councils has people on it that are jokes. Absolute jokes to human rights. So with that, I'm going to thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. You can be critical of any country on earth. No country does everything perfectly. But there is a big difference between Russia just wanting to take that land and possibly citizenry to bolster its population, and the Iran situation where they are wanting to actually completely wipe a country and everyone who lives there off the face of the earth. Russia's not going to kill all the Ukrainians. If Russia took over 100% of Ukraine, there would be no genocide. If the Muslims took over 100% of Israel, there would not be a single Jew that got out. Think about that. Have a nice one.